G'day guys, it's Craig from Country Values Real Estate here. Today I'm with John Russie. John's a local mortgage broker in the Chittering area and knows our local market pretty well. I've spoken before about how you need to prepare for organising your finance before you start looking at buying a property, and so John's got here to give us some advice about that. So John, yeah, nice, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
Yeah. So just can you tell us a little bit about what when someone's before they apply for a loan, what they need to do to prepare for a finance application?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Look, it's not uncommon these days for the banks and the lenders to be asking a lot more information up front, so they can get a good idea as someone's financial position. So when I'm meeting with a client, I generally ask them to have ready for me bank statements of all their transaction accounts, savings accounts, any loans that they've got as well, whether it's a car loan, personal loan, even credit cards, having current statements on those accounts, because that way, it allows me to at least, verify what financial position they're in, what existing liabilities they have. It allows me to also just to confirm what those monthly repayments are on all those facilities. The other thing that I like to get the clients to think about is their monthly living expenses, because the banks are definitely tightening up on declared living expenses of the borrowers to make sure that they can afford not only the loan that they're looking at taking out, but also they can afford their ongoing living costs as well.
Yeah.
So it's getting them to think about things like how much they spend on food, entertainment, transport costs, all that sort of thing. Also, it gives them the opportunity to think about not only their current expenses, but what their future costs are going to be once they move into this new property. Because obviously, a first home buyer who's living at home, say with their parents, their living costs might be fairly minimal. If they're going to be buying a house to live into, their living costs are going to increase, because they're going to have shower and water rates, they're going to have the gas and the power bills. So it's getting them to think about all those sort of anticipated costs as well.
Yeah. So basically, looking at their future lifestyle, what it'll be like once they move into that home, and how it's going to change from what it is now.
Absolutely. And again, because of the changes in the lending environment, with the responsible lending that we've got these days, we've got to be sure that we're not putting someone into any potential financial hardship by offering them a loan.
Yep. And so by the people getting that information ready beforehand, that'll just smooth the process and make it go a lot quicker than when they do apply for the loan.
Absolutely. It allows us to to work out their borrowing capacity calculations based on the information that's in front of us. If there's any potential issues, we can look at ironing those out before we take that next step. I mentioned credit cards earlier, because the one thing that some clients don't know about is they might have a credit card and say $10,000 limit. They may not ever use it, but the lenders will actually factor in the costs of that credit card when they're working out borrowing capacity. So if someone's got a large credit card limit and they don't really need it, I would suggest to them that they reduce that limit. That might actually help them with their borrowing.
Yeah. So if you've got lots of credit cards and you don't use them all, then maybe
get rid of the ones that you don't need.
Sure.
Perhaps just limit them to the essential ones.
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, that's great, John. Thanks for that. Look, that's just a brief overview. So if people want to know more, John, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, look, more than happy to have a chat with anyone looking at finance. You can reach me on 0417 977 273.
Great. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Craig.